sure that all the protections for women in general are gone, null and void. Their actions never match up with the things that they just say they are. Ever, not once,
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know. I don't trust their stats necessarily, but I will say this, and I'll close on this. If more people are signing up for the armed forces, there is generally a reason for that. Historically, people sign up when they are economically desperate. That is, I was in ROTC. It was a known fact stated. That's what leads to people joining up the armed forces. Oh, sure, no, there's patriotism and stuff like that. Whatever. There's definitely stuff like that. But the chief driver is that people feel like their other economic opportunities have dried up, and you can get a reliable paycheck as well as some benefits by joining the armed forces. And Donald Trump is destroying the economy. So hey, maybe he can help the army reach its recruitment goals through that strategy, dark though it might be. Anyway, that's unfortunately all the time we have for the show. JR, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here, particularly coming after a supersized episode of The Watch Party. Thank you.
As always, good to see you guys.
Thank you. Everybody go check out the watch list. Tomorrow, Abelina Sabrina herself is gonna be here on the show. We're gonna have a lot of fun, so definitely join us there. For now, oh, and members hangout this Thursday. Don't forget, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Matt Gaetz. And for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc is off today, but never fear. Jackson White coming to us from, I hope I'm allowed to say, Cali.
Yes.
He's a California guy now.
You
He's
never
surfing.
know where I'm gonna be. You just never know. You never know what type of background I'm gonna have going on.
Yeah.
You never know what I'm gonna have going on with my hair. I don't have any rings on my finger today. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just chilling.
But I
yes,
love the
I'm coming
tats.
to you live from Los Angeles, and I've been having a fantastic trip. It's good to be here today with you.
Yeah, it's always great. I think, our chemistry when we're together here, we don't always agree. But a lot of times we do. We'll see what the audience thinks.
Many times.
So, Jackson, let's begin in DC. Okay.
Let's do it.
Over 300 arrested during Trump's DC crackdown. A lot of arrests. Boy, he solves it. Day one. Over 700 National Guard troops from GOP led states will be deployed, we've learned, to Washington, D.C. in the wake of the Trump crackdown in the Capitol. Watch. Okay, those heavy trucks, those are the big guns needed to crack down on crime in DC. I hope they're going to the right spots. There's some talk about that. Let's give you more details. West Virginia is going to be sending up to 400 troops, we've learned. South Carolina, they pledged 200. Ohio, they're going to dispatch 150 in the coming days. The three states announced on Saturday. New York Post with the reporting there. We stand ready to support our partners in the national capital region and contribute to the collective effort of making our nation's capital a clean and safe environment, Major General Jim Seward of the West Virginia National Guard said. I was about to say, how can these people keep a straight face? But he's not actually keeping one in the picture. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster announcing the deployment of 200 National Guard personnel from the Palmetto State to D.C., but said the troops could be recalled in the event of a major national disaster, such as a hurricane. Why don't you let them go home now, Governor, and rest up for the next severe weather alert? He said the deployment was part of Trump's efforts to restore law and order in Washington and in response to requests from the National Guard Bureau at the Pentagon. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, meanwhile, said he is sending 150 military police officers to support the D.C. National Guard. These Ohio National Guard members will carry out presence patrols and serve as added security, Governor DeWine said in a statement. We should tell you, first of all, Governor, they're actually taking pictures with tourists. They're posing, they're shaking hands, they're being good ambassadors, but really? Deployment of the 750 troops from the three states would bring the total number of National Guard personnel within the Capitol to over 1,450. Horace Cooper now, Black GOP pundit, being called out for defending Trump's DC crackdown as he says the president is not picking Black cities. Let's hear from Horace.
So why is the president picking Black cities?
The president isn't picking Black cities. The president is trying to solve a problem. And it happens that Black Americans who didn't give him a majority of their votes are going to be the beneficiaries.
I can tell you right now, I know what it looks like. His potato salad is not seasoned either. It's just, it's not. I mean, I don't know how much further we got to go into that, but I think you understand what's cooking. If you believe this to be true, I want to talk to you about some swampland. I have. Ex-user David Plannon posted that. I mean, this is a joke. Yes, it's just coincidental racism, another ex-user wrote. Be angry at the racists that voted for Trump. I'm mad at Black people like this defending it. Still another angry social media user pointed out. Trump's White House post flaunting mugshots of Black men in D.C. crackdown is backfired now. Atlanta Black Star reporting the White House used its social media feed to showcase a shocking display of mugshots of people arrested in the first hours of the federal crackdown on crime in Washington. One Black face after another. Just rooting out crime. Don't talk about Black versus white. It's just is what it is. Many had remarks and responses online. User Frank Ludi posted in a similar style, but boasting Trump's mugshot and charged. Come on, he's actually making money off of this. I don't even like it when we repost it, but let's see. 88 felony charges across 4 states, lost a civil sexual abuse case and civil fraud case. failure to serve any jail time or face any repercussions because he has good lawyers and is rich. I would add the system's rigged, which is one of his favorite things to say. The system's rigged, and he's got enormous white privilege. He can fail upwards again and again and again. Remember when the banks were still loaning to him? After he said, look, I know I screw up every business. I'm bankrupt. I've done this, Atlantic City, and give me money because we're in this together. You try that, okay? Actually, Jackson, don't try that. Your reaction, I'm very disappointed. Listen, I'm no Governor DeWine fan, but out of the 3 states, I thought he had some sense and some integrity. He's proven in the past, I believe he has a sprinkling, we'll call it. So for him to do this, like the rest of them, and get involved in this sham, this thing that's not really happening. And what is happening, crime in certain parts of DC, other cities, of course, other areas. He's not even attacking those areas, okay? If you want to take a trip to the nation's capital, Jackson, and pose and do your thing, the monuments, I don't know if you want to do a photo shoot there. Maybe you do. MLK statues there. African American History Museum's there. I don't know what's left in it. I don't know if you're allowed to learn about anybody in it. What say you about this? Just, again, it's tomfoolery.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, all this is basically cocaine for Fox News viewers. It's just a hit for them, like, oh yeah, we're tackling crime, we're getting on the problem. It's just a distraction because this isn't eliminating crime in any type of way. As we know, typically crime is brought forth through different types of circumstances of poverty, people who can't afford X, Y, and Z, or maybe you grew up in a household that was very unstable because of the type of environment that you live in where there aren't a lot of opportunities. So there's no real effort to address that, whether it be in Washington, D.C. or on a national level. So, like it's really just, obviously it's a joke. Clearly, they're going to show all the black mug shots because that's who voted for Donald Trump to be in office. And it's really all the Trump administration has to try to make themselves look like they're competent and like they're being efficient and like they're getting on the job. Because when it comes to the economy, inflation's rising, manufacturing is not coming back. The tariffs are looking like they're just going to continue to be in place. The big, beautiful bill has destroyed much of the healthcare system. Many people are getting ready to lose it over the next 10 years. And, so on and so forth, the Epstein files, what have you. So without this, there really is nothing else that the Trump administration can showcase to make themselves seem like they're doing a job at all, let alone a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I contend that, they threw a lot of stuff against the wall and said, will this stick? Let's investigate Obama. Let's do this and that to make Epstein go away. This one seems to have a little bit of legs. I don't know how much longer this story will last. He'll keep, I guess, amping it up. But by the way, Bill Barr, his former attorney general, set to testify about Epstein and what he knew. It seems to keep coming back. And then you have the Putin thing, I don't know. Did they eat Alaskan snow crab or something? Because they didn't get anything else done. Okay. And maybe he gave him some caviar. I don't know. But it's really sick. And the next time you want to pull the lever and again, people should vote for whoever they feel confident in. Whoever they want to roll the dice on, I guess, if they're not happy with the current administration or the one before or whatever. But just remember, you asked for this, some of you, and all of us are living with it. We'll see. Stay tuned. Now, this next story is, again, it could have gone on under another category, I'll say. And I think you'll understand which one. Because once again, you're rolling up to the scene, asking somebody for their paperwork instead of minding your business and paying your bills. That's actually what's going on here. This one's extra maddening because it involves a disabled Black veteran accused of stolen valor. And then he's shot. Look at your life, America. Harold Powell Sr., a disabled Navy veteran, now recovering after being shot in the chest on Seattle's waterfront in what his family believes was a hate crime. Prosecutors say 32-year-old Gregory William Tim confronted Powell over what? Well, false accusations of stolen valor. Why? Huh? Why are you involved, Greg? I'm confused. So let's see if this clears it up. On the evening of July 31st, Powell was sitting in his wheelchair along the Seattle waterfront, playing music as he had for nearly 3 decades. Tim walks up. Now, according to charging documents and video reviewed by prosecutors, the encounter turned hostile almost immediately. Tim accusing Powell of lying about his military service, and he shouted that he was guilty of stolen valor. He demanded Powell show military identification. You see what I mean? Show me your papers. Now everybody's deputized. Show me your papers. And at one point, ripped the military patch from Powell's wheelchair. Theft, assault, whatever. This according to the reports. Powell tried to retrieve his ID, but tensions escalated as he also reached for a small knife from his bag for protection. Justifiable, if you ask me. He had a holstered airsoft gun, which resembled a real firearm, attached to his chair. Again, perfectly fine by me. Somebody comes up to you and starts tearing at your clothes and shouting things that are ridiculous. I don't know. You got to protect yourself. So a video of the incident shows Powell pulling it out of his bag, and that's when prosecutors alleged Tim stepped back about 12 feet. You're moving away. And he pulled a .45 caliber handgun from a shoulder bag. He fired once directly into Powell's chest. Startled bystanders screamed. They scattered, some shielding children, as Mr. Powell slumped in his chair. He then slid his pistol back into the bag, raised his hands, and shouted reassurances to witnesses. It's all right, everybody. Tim, meanwhile, continued yelling at Powell to show me your ID and accused him of pulling a gun. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife officer nearby heard the gunfire, rushed over, detaining Tim on the spot. Seattle police arrived moments later, recovered the handgun, and placed him under arrest. Jesus, just, can you imagine you're minding your own business, you're a veteran, listening to me, you served, and you've earned the right, still injured, to just enjoy your day. Imagine it. And some fool comes running up and tries to take your life, quite frankly, and is still yelling as you're could be mortally wounded. It's unbelievable. Let's tell you about Tim a little bit more. I know you just want to know. He's no stranger to politically charged violence. 2020, he made national headlines after plowing his car into a Republican voter registration tent. That was in Jacksonville, Florida. At the time, he told police he did not like President Trump. Later testified he believed his actions were his duty. Now, King County prosecutors have charged him with first-degree assault, Class A felony that carries the potential for life in prison. First-degree assault. Is the word murder, attempted murder, anywhere in here? Class A felony that carries the potential for life in prison. His bail has been set at $750,000. Casey McNerney, spokesperson for the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, said Tim cannot claim self-defense when he provoked the altercation. If only that were, universally understood. If you're the one who's the first aggressor who provokes an altercation, you lose the right to claim self-defense effectively under state law, McNerney told Station King 5. Powell's children have launched a GoFundMe to help cover the enormous cost of his recovery, describing their father as a proud Black man, a disabled hero, a survivor of both war and systemic injustice. Family says Powell will need help with medical bills, therapy, mobility, basic living expenses while he's unable to work. He should never have to work again. few days ago, our lives were shattered, the family wrote. Our dad was targeted in what we believe was a hate crime, shot in the chest in a senseless act of violence. After everything he survived, Vietnam era, submariner, injury, disability, systemic injustice, he is now fighting for his life again in a hospital room. The road ahead is long. This isn't just about survival, it's about justice, healing, and dignity. The fundraiser reads, he has served, he has sacrificed, and now he needs his community to rally around him. So this thuggery, and I have an inkling there's more going on with Tim, but this is the kind of crime, I guess, that President Trump would talk about. And we know how he feels about veterans, right? And I don't know, maybe he'll give a talk after he gets out of the Oval Office, being disingenuous with Volodymyr Zelensky and the other European allies who were in town today. Jackson, I'm not a lawyer, so perhaps a Class A felony is, said it could carry life in prison, but I call this attempted murder. And we can sort out anything else going on with the alleged perp here. But the family's right. Here's a man, and too many veterans have faced darkness coming home to America. We don't know the motive, but I believe the family. I stand with them. Utter sickness. And then, oh yeah, the guns. Because if this alleged perp didn't have one, we'd probably just be looking at a nasty big mouth. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, there's always elements of racism to be discussed, but I think here the glaring issue is that this man who shot the veteran shouldn't have had a gun in the first place. I mean, this dude was clearly out of his mind. This doesn't make any sense. I mean, even let's say that that he was guilty of stolen valor, that he wasn't a real veteran, like clearly that's not worth shooting someone over, let alone in front of a crowd of people in a public place. But it's just like, it's not your authority to make that decision anyway. I mean, this dude was out of his mind. I mean, his mugshot, he looks like he's out of his mind, and everything that we've discussed about him is just indicates that this dude shouldn't have a weapon, possibly shouldn't be able to walk around in public without his meds. I mean, what is this guy, bipolar or something? Was he in a manic episode? I don't know. But this really highlights the huge issue of the fact that people in this country, all over America, have weapons who should not. Especially if you're in a red state like where I'm from in Missouri. I mean, you can just walk around anywhere with weapons, and practically anyone can get them. So this, I mean, I think that's really the glaring issue here, is just a huge fault in our system. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Guns first. Perhaps, again, we don't know everything, but based on what we do know, it's fair to raise mental health issues. Yeah. He's probably out of luck there too, with all of the cuts and people and charitable organizations and other worthy organizations really running out of funds while the rich get richer. I was told today you could write off $1 million if you bought a yacht instantly. Part of the big, beautiful bill.
His mugshot back up real quick. Put his mugshot back up on the screen. I mean, look at him. Like, I mean, that's just one picture, but he looks like he's somewhere else. And, the fact that this type of stuff is happening in this country, and, our biggest, seemingly easiest problems to fix, we just won't do it, whether that be raising people's wages, raising the minimum wage, making corporate stock buybacks illegal again, strengthening our gun control laws just a little, maybe just a little bit. Ain't nobody talking about taking away your guns, but maybe people like him shouldn't have them. And we just can't seem to do it, which is a shame.
And we wouldn't do it if he walked into a school and shot up the place and murdered some kids either. So that's just how we're living. Those small changes, Jackson, probably would amount to a little bit of hope for people who are just teetering and ready to check out because they have none. Okay, let's talk Border Patrol protection agents. They opened fire on a family's truck. Customs and Border Protection, CPB agents opened fire on a family in California. We have the footage.
What do you want? What do you want? Identification. No, lo voy a abrir. Hey, you can't do that. No le abras, no le abras, no le abras, no le abras, no le abras. No le abras. Guay. No le abras. No le abras. No lo puedo abrir, ¿por qué? What do you want? What do you want? Identification. No. No, lo voy a abrir. Hey, you can't do that.
Broad daylight, right thing to do? Well, let's tell you about it. NBC Los Angeles reported that CPB agents opened fire on the family as they surrounded their truck in San Bernardino, California. This was Saturday morning, as one CPB agent demanded that the father get out of the vehicle. He then started smashing the vehicle's window to gain access to the inside. Father then hit the gas to try to escape, after which several shots could be heard as agents opened fire. Local news station KTLA reporting, after the father successfully fled the scene, he called local police and asked for help because masked men had opened fire on his truck. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson defended the agents' actions in a statement to NBC Los Angeles. Here's the quote. In the course of the incident, that suspect drove his car at the officers and struck two CPB officers with his vehicle, they said, because of the subject's forcing a CBP officer to discharge his firearm in self-defense. Look, that's the statement. Maybe parts of it are true, maybe parts of it aren't. I'm reminding you, this is their statement. The father, who only wished to be identified as Francisco, pointed out that the agents refused to identify themselves and presented no warrants to justify the search of his truck. I had to protect my life and my family, he explained to NBC Los Angeles. My truck was shot 3 times. His son-in-law, who only wished to be identified as Martin, similarly critical of the agent's actions. It's just upsetting that it happened to us, he said. I'm glad my brother is okay, Pop is okay, but it's just not cool that immigration enforcement officials are able to do something like that. According to KTLA, federal agents surrounded the family's house later that afternoon, demanded that the father come out so that he could be arrested. He refused, and agents eventually departed from the neighborhood without detaining him. Now, you can't have it both ways, folks. Either you are so dangerous that we have to surround your vehicle and discharge our guns in broad daylight, or you're not. And if I show up at your house and you don't come out and I have lawful reason to demand you do so, I'm not going to go get coffee, donuts, or anything else. We've got to see this through. Your danger, your threat to the community. Which is it? How could they just go home? Local advocacy group, Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, said on its Instagram page that it was mobilizing to provide legal support for the family. Jackson, I'm still looking for probable cause. Like, why were these parties engaged in the first place? Why did the party with the mask on engage the family in the first place? It's a mystery to me. And as I was reading parts of this and then reading the statement from the police account, I could just hear people saying, well, just comply. Well, here's what we've reported in the last several weeks. There are people who, based on the color of their skin, the language they're speaking, who are being targeted by both ICE, Border Patrol, but also by wannabes, criminals who are just out to do harm to them. That's just a fact. That's going on right now as we speak in this country. Can you make sense of some of this? Do you have a perspective on it?
Well, I mean, really, a lot of what I've been thinking about as we've been covering this story, and as I was reading through it this morning from the production document, is how much this is encouraged, particularly by ICE's push to hire 10,000 new people with such low hiring standards. We're gonna have these types of problems skyrocketing out of control as if they aren't bad enough already. 10,000 new hires, that's a lot of people for any organization, but particularly in a short amount of time. All the incentives that they're giving people to join, up to $50,000 signing bonuses, get your student loans forgiven. The age limit has been removed.
Is that why they can hire the washed up Superman? What's his name?
Dean Cain, I think was his name.
He's also now.
Exactly.
He's signing up immediately. So they've got him.
Get that. I mean, $50,000 up front. That's a lot of money if you can get it. But again, like that, and part of how the Department of Homeland Security promoted their age cap removal is like, we're strengthening father-son bonds like never before. Like, get your son and go out and hunt these immigrants. And one of the bigger issues with how this is branded is that there's so many criminals they're all a bunch of criminals that we need thousands and thousands of new agents to round them all up because there's so many criminals in the country. But we know that isn't true. We know that most people, undocumented immigrants here, overstayed their visas. And so many of them work in the fields like where I've been over the weekend. I'm in California. I spent some time I'll talk a little bit more about it in a story later, in a farming community out here. This is who most of undocumented immigrants are, who work vast stretches of farmland that a lot of these people don't even see, who watch Fox News and all these other right-wing outlets. They have no idea how interconnected and complex this country truly is. All they know is the rural little town that they live in. So this type of stuff, unfortunately, is going to get a lot worse. And a lot of it is going to have to do with ICE's outreach for 10,000 new people with such low quality hiring standards. It's going to get bad.
So we know what happens when members of law enforcement aren't necessarily the best and the brightest. Doesn't bode well. You're bringing in all these people into a culture that's already suspect. And they seem to relish breaking that window and taunting. And again, where's the probable cause? And why did they leave when they had him barricaded inside his own home? If he's that dangerous, shouldn't they go back now? I don't want them to. Because it's a farce, that's why. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Doc is off today. Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White. Much more to come.
What contributions to the progressive cause are you most proud of? I mean, I don't have super high aspirations for a singular role that I can play in the movement or anything. I try to present myself as what I think that I am, which is a progressive man who is driven by I think, well-interrogated and well-organized system of values that I try to stay consistent on, and I demonstrate that that's the sort of life that a person can lead and be successful and be happy and all of that. And that should not need to be done, but there are so many people on the right that are trying to push men in the opposite direction that I want to be able to do that. Along the way, if I can get people to care about some topics that they wouldn't necessarily care about, or that for some men they might think that's not a topic that they should be focused on, that's definitely something that I relish doing. And along the way, I mean, we've been able to introduce people to a lot of candidates. That's been a big part of what we've done.
not all of them necessarily got in office. Probably most of them did not. And a lot of them you might not even remember their names. But it was great to be able to provide people the platform where they had the chance of making a difference. Obviously AOC and all that, but there's been a lot of great people along the way.
In the bonus episode for the members, we do some inside baseball. We're gonna look at John's desk. Nice little spaceship here. Nerd. But it is kind of look cool. Who has Legos? Oh no. He's taken apart a keyboard. Who has a mouse pad that's this big? He's got a dog with a nose that you can hang something on. You know what this desk screams to me? Nerd. And that's how we like him. We love Johnny Pie. He's got his own personality like everybody does at TYT. Come meet us all in the bonus episodes. TYT.com/team.
David Sorrell, Nina Turner.
Adam Green drop by.
Charlamagne.
Congressman, great to have you. It's great to be with you, Chang.
Your show is a great thing. You're informing people. A lot of the shows that I live on, my CNN, my MSNBC, and even Fox, and any of the other shows, NPR, they are so quick to decide that they know what this building means today.
The one thing that I hate that politicians do, they talk about the people they should be talking to.
Do they have any idea that they're the establishment and that they're hated? Or do they not realize that at all?
People are so deeply in their little universe. I think it's very easy to not really question what you're doing.
Voters have a right to ask questions of any nominee, whether they're independent, Republican, or Democrat.
The system is duopoly that suppresses competition.
How is it the year 2024 and we're still like, maybe they'll talk about paid medical? Like how is that like at one level it's like, look at what we're talking about now. You're like, it's 2024.
And that's always been the critique, that your critique of us is, well, you guys give good speeches, you put out good tweets, but you're not wielding actual power. Now we're starting to.
My favorite news platform by far. It's not even close.
It's about a country and a principle, and that's what you and I both work to achieve. And I'm so glad that at least half the battle has now been won.
If you want to go really hear what's going on, honestly, you should tune into the Young Turks.
Thanks for doing such a great job. Please keep it up. Hang tough.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Oh, I like making that.
I didn't know about that.
This is a happy experience. You're welcome, YouTube.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive Shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real, positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey, Sharon Reed, Jackson White as our special guest co-host today. Honored to be here and happy you joined us. Let's get to some of your comments. TYT members first. Over 9,000 Enter the Dragon has this comment about ICE. Jackson mentioned the bonus, just doing what they do, disrupting lives, disappearing people. Over 9,000 says, if my current path doesn't work out, I'll sign on with ICE. Now wait for it.
That's why I'm saying, like, they really, but think about how desperate of an attempt it even is to hire that many people. Like, how you have to do stuff like that. Even if this wasn't an abhorrent position that most people aren't interested in, like, that's a lot of people to hire. I mean, it's a lot of people. So
hire more school teachers, but over 9,000 has a caveat. He says he'll sign on with ICE for the bonus And then he's just going to do the worst job he can to screw up the ops until he's fired.
Right.
I thought about that, right?
Throw
I
a
mean,
flash grenade. at the team.
look, you can't prove, if he's not good at the job, okay, better take that money.
Right.
I don't advise people to do this, but I'm sure other people have thought of it too. Knuckle Dragon says, hopefully the judges will not cooperate with Trump's heavy-handed BS. Well, it depends on what level. A lot of pushback, and then he's been bailed out by Clarence Thomas and what's his face with the upside down flag. My wife did it. We'll see if they can hold the line. X-Dog the Security Dragon, for dude to say that black people who didn't vote for Trump will benefit these tactics is sarcasm enough to know they are frauds. Yeah, Mr. Howe, what was his name? This is craziness. And he knew it too. But he went on Fox to say it. So beware, be on the lookout. Don't let him in the cookout. Brett Campbell, aka Dragging My Ass. For Pete's sake, someone take away the administration's credit card. Well, they're ruining our credit rating, I'll tell you that. We'll get one more and then we'll get to more of you. Love your comments. Guam will capsize dragon. Still waiting for crime to go down now that all the brown people are gone. Yes, you wouldn't it? Why even have to deploy people in D.C., in the National Guard? Because you are taking all the quote unquote criminals away. He said he was going after the worst of the worst. Not true. Okay, now, earlier we had the story of the man who shot a hero, black veteran in a wheelchair, minding his own business, demanding see his paperwork. And I said that we could have put that story under this, but we got another one for you. Okay, we can't keep up. There's so many, but we've got a good, strong file of them, just to make sure you know what's out there. And here's another one. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
You're still free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
She likes to say at the park.
I said I have a brother who's in.
Oh, look, and she keeps saying it. So she said it.
To excuse my personal property and walk away, okay?
Oh, what?
We're all the same.
Oh, what?
We're human.
Exactly. Get
Amen.
your ass back fast when I come beat you up.
The baby was, did you see how the baby was not wanting to be part of this? And she's, flopping around with the baby just kind of slumped over. The baby had, who charges at somebody in an altercation like this after using such a vile language with the baby? I felt like the baby was like captive to this nastiness. This, according to Atlanta Black Star, this Karen, he spewed racist slur at a black family, says she's entitled to it. Recent summer day, Reggie Lanier took his 4 kids to a local park. That's what you do, right? This is in Minnesota. But an incident occurred that left them shaken and upset. White mom allegedly hurled racial slurs at Lanier and his family, leading to a tense confrontation that the father caught on video. It doesn't matter what people wear when they're saying this kind of vicious verbal assault. And I was going to say something, but her shirt does say dress down. You did. You nailed it. Incident occurred on the playground of Lions Park in Coons Rapids, sparking outrage on social media with many drawing comparisons to Shiloh Hendricks. Remember her? White mother from Minnesota who made national news for spewing racist vitriol at a black child in a park in May. She got rich for it too. What's going on in Minnesota? Specifically, the playgrounds, asked a concerned person in the comments section of TikTok. This is so exhausting, said another. Yikes. In the video, Lanier can be heard confronting the unidentified mother who is pushing a stroller, appears to be leaving the park with her young daughters after she went out of her way to call his family the N-word. She likes to say the N-word at the park, Lanier stated as he walked alongside her and filmed her leaving. Upon realizing she's being filmed, she turned around and exclaimed, "I said I have a brother who is an N-word," apparently in a misguided attempt to justify her behavior. Mother loaded the children into her minivan in the parking lot. Lanier approached again to film her license plate, but he quickly pushed back by the woman who got into his face with the baby flopping around on her hip. "This is my personal property." "You mean the baby?" "I don't know what is. You're out in the open. You're calling people N-word." She indicated he should stop filming. When a Karen gives you a lawful order, you must comply. He did not comply. "Come on now, Mr. Lanier. Walk away. We're all the same. We're human." I'm not so sure about that. Mom. So here we have it again, Jackson. This dressed down mom and the baby. And I generally think kids belong with their mom. So I'm not saying, I'll call, DFACS and child services. But I am concerned about this child who had no ability to escape these racist actions. It could have turned violent, this confrontation. And I don't quite know what to do about her. But first I want you to, if you will, offer up the odds that she has or will soon have a GoFundMe account that will start racking up the dollars. I mean, after all, she's the victim.
Hey, if she wants to do that, I'm sure she'll come up with a decent amount of money that she probably needs, more than she needs. You feel me? I mean, that's the world we're living in now. You can't say the N-word out loud without people getting upset about it anymore, man. What the hell has the world come to? I mean, first and foremost, I have to comment on the baby just flapping in the breeze, just totally hunched over with his arms just like this, just not knowing what's going on. So, like a purse or something. Yeah. But overall, it was just kind of silly. I mean, like, what was the point of saying that in the first place? How can you possibly think that no one is going to take offense to that? And then at the end, she was like, "We're all human. We're all the same. So I can say whatever I want. That means I can do whatever I want, and it shouldn't matter to anybody." Like, I guess. But that's the thing. When you were Karen, you could say grow up, but that's not what they do. No. They stay young at heart and in mind forever. And so maturing isn't a thing that happens with the Karens in the wild.
Yeah. Perhaps it is arrested development. I tend to think that she knew what she was doing, and that's why she did it. That's why she said the filthy nastiness out of her mouth. That's exactly why she did it. Okay?
Hey,
arrested development and juvenile behavior.
Maybe it was just a ploy to get a GoFundMe account going. Maybe that's what it was. She got a brand new baby. Babies are expensive, and you got to do what you got to do in today's economy. Maybe that's what was up.
I guess. Well, we'll keep following it, and if our crack team finds out there is a GoFundMe or something, that was just my speculation. We'll bring you the update. She can buy formula, diapers, whatever. I hope there's someone reasonable who can watch the child, as she seemed a little unwell, her decision-making anyway. And she can buy something other than flip-flops. But she did have shoes on. You give her that. She had shoes on. What do you say we head to Scotland? I rather love the story we did a couple days ago. And now we have an update. Black Scottish TikTokers expose racism in Scotland. They freedom fighters too. Look, it was fun while it lasted.
So obviously in the last couple of days, we've just found out that the Americans didn't know that there was black Scottish people in Scotland, right? But the comment sections for me are just a little bit problematic. Do white people like black people over there? And that doesn't really sit right with me. Like, don't do that. Of course we like them because they're just normal human beings living their life. Like, don't do that. We don't differentiate here. You're just Scottish. That's at the bottom line. You're just Scottish. We don't say white Scottish and black Scottish. That's not the way that it is here. It never has been that way here. If it has been, I've never been. How would we know because we're white? Well, we live here and it's a lived experience, right? So I feel like it's a very American way of thinking and it's just not the way that it is over here.
Americans discovered this week that black Scottish people exist and that they're real. And there's this mutual love going back and forth between Black Americans and Black Scots. And in the comment sections, Black Americans are asking the Black Scottish people, is it safe for us to come over there? How do they treat you over there? How's life over there? And I've seen several videos like this from white Scottish people where they're saying, we don't do race over here. People are just Scottish. We don't differentiate. Trust me when I say this to you, every Black person in the world that lives in an either European or mainly white country knows that they're Black.
Duh. I heard her say problematic. The accent's so thick, I don't know what else she said, but he summed it up for you. She basically was saying, we don't see color over here. And we know, I've never been there, and I can tell you that's not true, okay? Certainly not true. So there you have it. Certainly didn't take long for people to try to ruin the love fest. Black, Scottish TikTokers were enjoying it. Boy, we were celebrating them. White Scottish folks online have been downplaying the racism that exists in their country in response to the trend. I never could understand why people who aren't subjected to that racism, not directly, are the first to comment and tell you it's not happening. Huh? It's like a man telling a woman the pain threshold of having a baby. I think you should shut up. It's tough to deny racism in Scotland when videos like this do exist.
Spraying Dettol all over the place, saying the place was effing stinking, and then moved seat behind me and said to go back to your own country. None of that's related to me, right? Okay. No, it's nothing to do with your colour. I thought I was losing my mind. And I was like, and I looked up and I was like, sweet old lady, wouldn't he? Would they? Back to your own country. That's not right. Thank you. No, I knew she was being racist. Are you proud of that though? You're proud to be racist? Well, I'm embarrassed for you actually. You're proud to be you. You're being a racist. I was born here. I'm more Scottish than you probably. You're British.
Now I heard what she said, the sister there. You're proud to be a racist. I'm embarrassed for you. So they're just like us across the pond, just like us in Scotland. These Black Scottish TikTokers had a lot to share regarding the racism they faced in the country.
I'm holding in tears because it is a subject, a very touchy subject that I feel that I've never been able to speak about racism in Scotland. Just because I can only speak about my experience. I can't speak on any other person of colour, a Black person at all. And I would never try to, but I have seen some comments of Black people saying like, oh, there's no racism in Scotland. And I'm like, look at my last video. But the first time I experienced racism that I can proper remember, I was 7 years old in a soft play, and I was on the floor of the soft play just playing. I think I lost my cousins. I think they disappeared. And I was by myself, and a group of, 3 or 4 boys circled me, like right round, and they were looking down on me because I was sitting on the floor, and they were saying stuff like, do you eat poo? Do you eat... That's what they were saying. That was the words that they were saying. Bear in mind, they were young. I was about 7. They were maybe like 9. Why are you that skin colour? And their faces were bright red, laughing, like proper hysterically laughing at each other.
If you grew up Black and Scottish in a predominantly white area, and also Glasgow's most deprived area at the time, and you and your siblings basically fought every day to be liked by white people, because one day they would like you and the next day they wouldn't, and even though you had a pretty good sense of community in your area, there was still obviously racism that was still very much alive and actively portrayed within your face. You made really good friends with the Polish boy that lived on the 2nd floor. However, your neighbours on the 1st floor seemed to have extreme problems with you because they were racist and they didn't like that you were Black.
Not gonna lie, I thought we'd be able to enjoy the love from our American cousins for a little longer before things inevitably started going left, but here we are, a little sooner than I expected. Someone's asked me to do a video about how I refer to myself, like what I identify as, basically, and what other people consider that I am. Someone actually left a comment on one of my videos saying that I'm not Scottish, I'm Nigerian, a Nigerian living in Scotland, basically.
I experienced microaggression, actually racism from teachers. I experienced racism from classmates. Like, I've experienced, like, I remember one incident when me and my family, we finished from church. We were waiting at the bus stop at that time. There were like 3 guys on their bikes started like shouting like racist chants to us. Obviously, I'm not gonna see it on TikTok. And I will always remember that, like, growing up, or even like getting made fun of about my hair texture. They would compare it to being pubic hair.
There is racism here. I'm so sorry to burst everyone's bubble. In my area that I grew up, I stay outside of Glasgow. There just wasn't a lot of black people in my area. I'd say a lot of our culture, like the rest of the world, is influenced by America. So yes, people over here do use the N-word. I've seen a few comments about asking that question, but yes. And white people are not afraid to use it. Yeah. One instance was a Christmas dance that my school held at Celtic Park. Old Digger came on. From there and then, I just knew what was going to happen. Still have the video to this day on my camera roll. This happened in 2018. The N-word was thrown around there. Complained to the school about it, that they shouldn't be playing this type of music. Even one of my aunties came into the school to speak to them about the racism, and they did nothing. Again, this is the same school that rewarded a boy for dressing up as a Rastafarian man in blackface to a Halloween party. He won Best Dressed.
So we don't sound alike, but we have a shared experience. It seems, Jackson, and that's the one thing I do like about social media, because it allows for completely open borders. We get to see and hear and learn about things going on other places. We get to share a common bond, even an ugly one. But basically the gist of it is there's nowhere you can escape to. Although some will tell you, go if you choose. Nobody's going to tell me to go back to what country? What are you talking about? There's some places that you can perhaps not face it maybe every hour of the day. But here we go again. It seems colonizers, the one commenter there referenced America teaching the world. I'll say colonizers throughout the course of time have taught the world to hate us. What say you?
Well, I mean, I think the idea, whether it's Scotland or any country, that racism doesn't exist here is, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, because racism is unfortunately kind of a part of human nature and our tribal approach to engaging with one another. You know, it's a form of the other. You know, you see this in any type of minority community, in any type of setting, which is why you need protections for minority groups in any country. You know, and speaking of Scotland, you know, there was Britain had them in a chokehold, still kind of do. You know what I mean? So they've dealt with that plenty. Discrimination among different groups of white people because they are the other. So that's something that we're always going to have to deal with, and why we always have to keep the fight alive and just keep our awareness of just how we're engaging with other people. Because again, it's part of our nature, unfortunately, to, you know, kick the weak ones. So of course racism exists in Scotland.
I think it would be nice to have a forum where we all come together across all continents, all countries, and share this common bond. I also would like us not to have to talk about the ongoing trash, filth, and discrimination, and remind folks that kings and queens, that's where people are coming from, okay? Kings and queens. We'll keep following it. I love the accents. It's a little thick, though. The Scottish accent is quite thick and difficult for me. Yeah, it's a little difficult to pick up on, but I don't mind it. Dang, you ain't got to say much to me from what I saw last week on the program. We don't have to talk at all. This is Indisputable. Karen Reed alongside Jackson White in for Doc today. Stay with us.
There's one reason why healthcare is so messed up in this country, and that's because of our money in politics situation. Because those industries that are deeply corrupt can just simply purchase all of Congress. And then the problem never gets fixed because of that bribery. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's greed, and it's the greed of politicians, right? I mean, so everything they do is dictated by the donors and the money. I mean, I shouldn't say that, not everything. A lot of what they do is, and I do think that there are people who do things in spite of the fact that they have to raise money and often don't get that money and often don't win because they don't, but are in there fighting for ideals that they believe in. Bernie Sanders is certainly an example of someone like that.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
You want to know the 3 shows that I'm watching lately? Shogun, Anjin-san. Those guys are badasses. Then you go to the Duttons, Yellowstone. Now, they don't always do it right, but they are badasses. But the 3rd show has the biggest badasses of all, the Young Turks. Live every weekend. Sick that I was so good. God damn it. Okay, live. Weekdays at 6 o'clock Eastern. That's what I meant. Anjin-san.
How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better health care, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Sharon Reed, Jackson White in as our special guest co-host today. More of your comments now. TYT member True Sight Dragon says about that Karen in the park hurling the N-word. Yeah, we agree. Minnesota is where that previous Karen was throwing racial slurs at young children at a playground. Maybe this one will start a GoFundMe too. We're watching for it. They're very bold, these Karens, and they are experts at turning themselves into the victim after starting all of the drama. Snack Panther 8655. What's up with women at public parks spitting out the N-word like hotcakes? It's just what they do. It's what we're doing, apparently. And maybe they go to the park for that purpose. I don't know. I thought maybe, people just, something happens and then they spew out the hatred. But I think we're seeing so many of these that perhaps now they are going to the park seeking these confrontations and to spew this venom. B. Brown 7436, the baby has more manners than mommy. Yes, and probably a neck sprain now. The way she was, approaching, demanding, and kind of just shaking the baby all over the place. It was unbecoming. Disappointing. DBD Clips says, with that accent, there's no question what her home country is. Talking about our sisters and brothers, our friends over in Scotland, who are subjected, who knew, to racism just like us. Yeah, and you want to tell her to go back to her country. She told the woman, I'm embarrassed for you. One more for you, V. Brown, 7436. This is what 77 million voted for, referring to whatever Trump is up to at this moment. Got to remember that, folks, when you go and pull a lever. He mostly told you what he was going to do. Now, he did lie and say he was just going to go after the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low, the criminals, they're bringing drugs. And then he disappeared people with weed whackers. So, but he said a lot of other stuff that you could disqualify him on. Jackson, take it away.
Yes, we have an interesting but unfortunate story about a man passing away. An Oregon police officer left a dying man in a patrol car to watch TikToks and sext his lover as the handcuffed man's temperature rose to 107 degrees. Like, I understand, but you on the job. And especially when you're dealing with somebody that you're supposed to be watching over in any type of capacity, like, damn, brother, you can't wait till you get home? I guess not. The federal lawsuit alleges that the officer left a handcuffed man suffering a fatal overdose in the back of a patrol car and proceeded to go inside a police station to scroll TikTok and send intimate text messages. Atlanta Black Star reports the family of Nathan Bradford Smith filed a wrongful death lawsuit accusing police in Coos Bay, Oregon, of negligence, abuse of a vulnerable person, and deliberate indifference. Smith suffered a methamphetamine overdose during a 2024 arrest and lost consciousness in the back of a police car. After he was placed in the back of a police car, he was seen breathing and panting heavily and slumping over in the back seat. And you would think, that would catch your attention, that might make you want to at least be on it. Hey, we might need some paramedics. I might need to drop him off to a hospital. Then you can get to the sexting. Then you can get to the intimate text messages. But it's just that draw was so powerful. I mean, if you got an itch that you got to scratch, I guess you just could not wait, again. But it's really unfortunate, though, because it's rather silly that you couldn't wait for this while someone's panting in your back seat. Like, come on, man. It only took police 3 minutes to drive to the police station, but after arriving, an officer left Smith alone in the car and went inside, where he watched videos on TikTok and replied to texts. One message he sent read, quote, I'm so ready for I'm so ready for snuggles. I feel like I haven't seen you in a week. Oh, my man ain't even he not even getting nasty. He talking about snuggles. I'm ready to cuddle with you. Like, dang, man, it's not like, oh my God, let me not make too many jokes out of this because a man passed away. The officer also allegedly turned his body camera around to hide whatever he did next on the phone. Smith was left inside the car unattended for 8 minutes. When the officer finally returned, he found Smith unconscious. After failing to rouse him, he grabbed a Narcan dose from his trunk and administered it to Smith, then called for an ambulance, according to the state police report. When paramedics arrived, they discovered Smith's body temperature was 107.3 degrees. Yeah, everything is frying at that temperature. They rushed him to the hospital. where he went into cardiac arrest and died. A total of 40 minutes elapsed between the time Smith was arrested and the time he went into cardiac arrest. See now how quickly that happened. That was really fast. But again, it just goes to show what his mind was on this whole time. Like even before he picked up this gentleman, his mind was dead set on the P. That's what he was thinking about. That's all he had on his mind. And it wasn't even like, and I bring that up too to say, like, it's not like this was a slow death. Like he was in the back seat for hours, 40 minutes. So it was intense. There was no escaping the fact that you heard this dude breathing, panting, and you still in the mood. No, man, no. Doctors listed the cause of death as hyperthermia due to methamphetamine intoxication and probable exogenous contribution from wearing multiple layers of heavy clothing. Quote, when these officers found him, he was clearly showing the signs of medical distress. And what we know when we finally did get to see a doctor is that his temperature was 107. He was hyperthermic and he was going to die. And unfortunately, he did. Lead attorney Juan Chavez with the Oregon Justice Resource Center told KGW. There was a 40-minute delay in getting him critical medical assistance. It was the officer's second encounter with Smith that day. Police told state investigators they decided to arrest Smith at the Motel 6 due to his violent tendencies from previous encounters. In a written statement, the cop who drove Smith to the police station said he left Smith in the car to call another officer due to it being a shift change. And he also wanted to ask a sergeant whether he needed to write a probable cause affidavit to charge Smith with having another person's wallet. The officer added that he left the patrol car on with the air conditioning running and that the back windows remained up because they weren't working correctly. Oh, well, how convenient. Smith's father told the Oregonian newspaper that police told him his son died but failed to share the circumstances of the death. He didn't learn the cause of death until he visited the funeral home. Quote, he didn't deserve to just be left to die. The complaint seeks unspecified damages and alleges the officers were deliberately indifferent to Mr. Smith's serious medical need or otherwise serious risk of harm in not calling for medical attention or otherwise. And of course, no criminal charges were filed against any of the officers involved in Smith's arrest after state police concluded their investigation. So Sharon, again, to me, I think what they've, the purposeful indifference, negligence, obvious. There's no reason why this should have happened in this sequence, whether it's because you're sexting your mistress or whatever's going on. There's no excuse why this man should not have been taken to the hospital. I've seen instances of people who were clearly out of their minds on some drug, I don't know, methamphetamine, in the middle of the street, like doing all types of stuff. Police come, fire trucks come, an ambulance comes, and they're escorted into the ambulance. So pretty much every city has stipulations and protocol for these types of instances. So a man passed away and, some people might say, oh, well, he was a drug addict and he was causing trouble. So who cares? I guess that would be your argument. Who cares? But the bottom line is that police are supposed to serve the public. And clearly, instance after instance shows that these really aren't necessarily the people that we can trust with that.
Yeah, I think police too often, maybe all the time, prioritize how they serve and protect the public. And that's not always a bad thing. But in this instance, I believe that if his canine dog, this officer, was in the back and the windows weren't working, he would have grabbed him, would have got him out of there. But come on, come inside, get some cool air with me while I sex. And by the way, the sexting to me maybe is a problem. I would think if you can't leave it alone, like you said, for
an
this
hour?
short window, okay,
Right.
you gotta, right, there you have a problem. But I firmly believe this is about indifference to a human being, because I don't know that he saw this, I'll put it in quotes, throwaway drug kid as worthy of help.
Yeah.
And that's sad, because if you have an issue, or perhaps it was your first time, life is meant to be lived and people make mistakes. And Never mind all that. Just do your job instead of making judgments or sexting someone. The fact that no charges have been brought, I guess what you're saying in this jurisdiction is that there's nothing to find out. I mean, they're allowed to sext on the job as the prisoner's in the back and just kind of chill out. So good to know in that jurisdiction that this is permitted. Otherwise, I don't know why it wouldn't be acted upon. A kid is dead, and you didn't even have the dignity, the decency, the integrity to inform the family properly of what went down here. These are people who, unfortunately, too many are encountering every day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that, the sexting honestly is kind of irrelevant to the fact that this person lost their life, whether it was sexting or anything else. The bottom line is there was negligence, there was indifference, and this kid's life was not valued whatsoever. I think the sexting just kind of makes the story a little more interesting, more of a headline grabber, you know what I'm saying? But what difference does it really make when someone's dead?
It's true.
Yeah.
This is Indisputable. Sharon Reed, Jackson White. We'll be right back in for Doc today.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT! TYT! The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
People who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
The Trump administration is suspending visitor visas for Gazans. And while that is unsurprising and unfortunate, I think the most unfortunate part about that is seemingly why this happened. So let's get into it. One day after conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer complained about visas being given to Gazans, the State Department announced that they were suspending visitor visas to those from the war-torn area. In her post, she claimed the NGOs Gazans quote, are affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhoods and funded by Qatar to help bring Palestinian Gazans to the United States. The State Department wrote in a post on X on Saturday, quote, all visitor visas for individuals from Gaza are being stopped while we conduct a full and thorough review of the process and procedures used to issue a small number of temporary medical humanitarian visas in recent days. Based on the State Department statistics from January 2025 through the end of May 2025, A total of 3,804 Class B1 and B2 visas have been issued for individuals with Palestinian Authority travel documents. While the State Department numbers do not specify the purpose of the trips, nor how many of the 3,804 visas issued were Class B1 or B2, individuals seeking to enter the United States for tourism or medical treatment fall under the B2 visa class, while B1 visas cover business travel. Loomer's target was the U.S.-based charity Heal Palestine, which said that they helped 11 critically wounded children from Gaza safely enter the U.S. It was the largest single medical evacuation of injured children from Gaza to the U.S., the charity said on its website. Truly unacceptable, Laura Loomer wrote in another X post. Someone needs to be fired at the State Department when Marco Rubio figures out who approved the visas. Qatar transported these Gazans into the U.S. via Qatar Airways. Oh, speaking of Qatar, your boy got a $400 million private jet from them, speaking of Qatar. But I guess that's, info for another story. Qatar is literally flooding our country with jihadis. So, there's a couple things to focus on when it comes to this. Now, like I said before, this is very unsurprising in terms of Donald Trump and his administration. And above anything else, it's just a reflection of the Trump administration's desperate attempt to keep all Black and brown immigrants out of here. 11 children. That's how much we're talking about. This sent Laura Loomer into a frenzy. 11 children from a war-torn country where they're being starved, where their families are being slaughtered, massacred in front of them before they're even old enough to understand what that means or old enough to have even had a childhood in the first place. 11 people is what's sending Laura Loomer over the edge about this. And the fact that Laura Loomer is influencing political and government activity obviously is a concern, but of course she is. Look at who else is in Donald Trump's administration. Pete Hegseth, Dr. Oz, these TV characters. Pete Hegseth the other day who was saying, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Let's go ahead and take that away. Let's take away women's suffrage. And the reality of just that we can make this country white again when it really was never all white in the first place. When Europeans first came over here, there were millions and millions and millions of Native Americans. And as Europeans came over here, the slave trade brought in many, many Black bodies. This has never been an all-white country. Has there been a white majority, especially as the Native American population has decreased? Yes. But there's nothing that you can do about this. It's not going to change. As I mentioned before, over the weekend, I was in a town called Santa Paula. It's about an hour and a half away from LA. I was there doing some work, and it was just a straight farm community, where they grow lemons and peppers and a lot of other citrus. And there's monuments that are set apart to honor the farmers who literally feed the planet. That's who the Trump administration is going after. It's people who literally keep the economy afloat, the lemons, the citrus that you eat, whether it's from here, whether it's from Mexico. And then the idea that we got to get, Latinos out of California, out of Colorado, out of Arizona, all of these places that used to be Mexico, so there's no wonder that you have so many brown immigrants here, but this used to be Mexico. So it's just an effort that's in vain. There's no stopping the browning of this country from happening. But the fact that Laura Loomer is influencing this, I think really just goes to show that we're in for absolute hell for the next 3 years. What do you think, Sharon?
I think Miss Loomer has an overload of white privilege. I think she's got white privilege intoxication, so much so that she's bored. Everything she demands and stomps her feet and, says, do it now. It's done. So she's bored. So 11 children are now what she's focused on because she's running. It's like, have you ever, and I've never been turned on by this kind of mate, but you date someone and they just are so infatuated with you, they'll do whatever. How boring is that? This is what's going on with her. She is overloaded she's actually intoxicated with white privilege, and she's running out of people to target. Soon she'll head to New York City. They'll have plastic straws again, I guess. If that's what she wants, it'll happen. Okay? It's just whatever nuttiness she wants, that's what's going to happen. White after Labor Day? Sure. If that's what she wants. So it's really sad to me that we have all of these, I don't know if you call them whack jobs, but I will. You have the Kennedy outcast who won't keep his shirt on, bathes in sewage, and was out jogging with Dr. Oz the other day. Okay? He's erasing the vaccine schedule after he said he wouldn't. You have Hegseth, who, I don't know what's going on there, but his mom wrote the letter. Okay? You have Tulsi, who is going against all the intelligence. Isn't she the leader of it? It's just whack-a-doodle-do, okay? All of this is whack-a-doodle-do. And Miss Loomer is doing more damage, it seems, from all of them combined from the outside. And they're letting her do it. America, look at your life. And let's get an antidote, if we can, for white privilege. Because I'm telling you, she's drunk with it. And it's really, really alarming.
Yeah, she's absolutely drunk with it. And, again, we're talking about an organization helping 11 children. It's just the callousness. And as we always say, cruelty really is the point. But that's why we really got to, rise up, come together, organize, really focus on the local level, like I'm always preaching, and do what we can. But yeah, that's just really unfortunate that people like Laura Loomer are calling the shots in the Trump administration. We'll be right back with another story. Y'all stay tuned.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to big pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT! The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
All the people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning, they seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back to Indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White. We are in for Doc today, and got to get into this next one. Talking about some high dollars, big payout here. Man awarded $60 million after disgraced prosecutor violated his rights. Jury in Michigan has awarded nearly $60 million to a man who said his rights were violated by a prosecutor. Brian Colozil, pictured below, State Police Lieutenant David Lusaka acted intentionally, deliberately, or with reckless disregard for the truth in pursuing charges against Sean McMaster. That is what a jury agreed upon. Here are the details. A jury awarded nearly $60 million Tuesday to a man who accused a disgraced Michigan prosecutor and a police officer violating his rights and filing sexual abuse charges in a case that was ultimately dismissed by the state attorney general. AP with the details. Jury awarded $33 million in lost wages, pain, suffering, damage to McMaster's reputation, in addition to $25 million in punitive damages for conduct done with malice or in reckless disregard of his rights. The attorney, Kolozia, was a Michigan assistant attorney general whose career crashed in 2019. Back then, it was revealed that he was having a romantic relationship with a woman in a sexual assault case under his control. He pleaded no contest to willful neglect of duty. He surrendered his law license. Besides the improper relationship, a judge said he had altered documents. The McMaster case was a separate but related matter. McMaster's lawyers said Kolozia pursued sex charges against him in an effort to impress and get close to a woman who was related to McMaster's former wife. The McMasters were in a contentious child custody battle. McMaster was a high-ranking police officer for Duval County, Florida, school system there in 2019 when he was charged in Michigan with sexually abusing a child, allegations he adamantly denied. Kolodzik, with Busaka's help, pursued the case, although authorities in Oakland County had earlier investigated and found no merit. McMaster was in solitary confinement in jail for months before Nestle dropped the case against him and his stepfather, citing serious violations of our prosecutorial standards. Now, you know it was bad. They never admit to that. The amount of money, destruction, it's caused my family. It's been devastating, McMaster said, referring to the humiliation of being charged in 2019. I no longer have a relationship with my daughter. Because of it, I've lost friends. The result of the trial, he added, gives my reputation back to me a little bit by saying they did not have probable cause to arrest me. There were a lot of lies and everything out there. Kolodzik and Busaka declined to comment about the verdict. Kolodzik represented himself during the trial, telling jurors it was embarrassing to inform them that he was forced to resign as a state prosecutor 6 years ago. Okay. So this one is convoluted, it's wacky, it's sad. Anytime I hear about someone interfering between the relationship, a parent and child, using lies, enlisting others who have their own issues or problems, or adjudicating such cases, I think it's sick. And I don't think you can pay someone enough money. I don't know about everything going on in McMaster's life and the things he did or didn't do, but the misconduct to me is the focus here. And the choice of allegations is the focus here. He's right. Saying that there wasn't probable cause to investigate, arrest, whatever, they did investigate it, tells most people who are protective of children, oh, they just didn't have enough evidence. That's what it does. When he's saying, none of this took place and lies and this and that were told on me. Is it worth $60 million? I guess, but who's going to pay for it? While people like this say no comment. No comment? Why are you not locked up if some of this is true? I don't think it should be called, Jackson, prosecutorial misconduct. I think it should be called a crime. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, it is a crime. And that's why they're getting $60 million, and I think that it's important too, because, prosecutors representing the state, that anytime something like this happens, or as often as possible, that people are able to get some type of massive award settlement so that it can help to keep prosecutors, law enforcement agents of various sorts, in line and thinking about ethics. And also to try to help maintain some trust between the public and the state. So it's definitely good that this happened. Unfortunate that this brother had to go through this. But $60 million, hopefully, at least can set him up for a good time.
Sure. If what we know and the jury decided is fully accurate, he deserves the money. My thing is who pays. I don't think this massive award is a deterrent at all, because we see too much of these lies. I don't think it's a deterrent at all. When people start losing their money, their livelihood, their freedom, maybe then I think it's a deterrent. But now, it's play money. It's your money. It's our money. So they do the dirt. And the reason I say that, and I'll give you the last word, Jackson, is because if what McMaster is saying happened here and the jury agreed, it's so egregious. It's so reckless. It's so wild, wild west. They did it because they knew we can get away with this. And as far as I'm concerned, they have. Because show me where they paid part of the $60 million. Oh, I lost my career. They'll be, look at a precinct near you. They'll find it again. Forced to resign. You notice nobody is fired, right? Am I wrong here? Forced to resign as a state prosecutor. Not fired for cause. Your turn.
No, I think he'll be okay. He'll likely be able to find another job somewhere. So, unfortunately, I do agree that this isn't going to stop stuff like this in total, but at least it was a victory in this one incident.
A victory. He's rich. Doesn't have his daughter.
Yeah.
This is Indisputable. Sharon Reed, Jackson White. Pleasure being with you. Tell people what you're up to, Jackson.
Yes, always a pleasure being with you. Y'all can check me out at Politics and Paper on YouTube. I'm just out here doing my best. Y'all can also catch me on Rebel HQ throughout the week.
We will stay tuned. Enjoy that weather out there.
Yes.
Don't surf any harsh waves, but I know you can handle it. This is Indisputable. Yep. Just do it. Send pictures, postcards, something, digital ones. We hope you'll join us again.